What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to yet another watch list video. Happy Thursday. I hope you all have been having a great week. We had a way better breadth day today compared to the last few sessions, so that was kind of nice to see. Don't want to forget where we've come from, but yeah, 270 stocks up today, 4%, and only 54 down. And you look at Pradeep's, it was a better breadth day overall, right? Less stocks down, more stocks up. Nice to see, right? Breadth start to slowly improve. That was good to see, right? In the futures right now, you got your Kospi gapping up about 4%, and it's starting to push a new high of day, which is interesting, right? Kioxia, one of your biggest holdings in the DRAM, is also gapping up back above his 10 and 20, up about 7%, built a higher low off the 50-day. Super nice. Nice to see it getting back above its moving averages. Samsung, another one where you're getting a gap up in the after hours and you're pushing through support. So super interesting to see this happen. And these ones, and I'll also throw up SK Hynix here. I'm going to try to keep this quick. Another one where it's like double inside day off the 50, a spot where it easily looks like a higher low, right? So everyone's super negative. This thing's just kind of been straight down. A lot of these things have been straight down. You don't want to be shorting down here, but trying to build a higher low off the 50, double inside day. We'll see if it can push higher. Definitely super interesting to me, and I think the dollar as well is starting to lose the 20 days. So we'll see. You've got pretty much an inside week, I think, so far. Yeah, an inside week. This thing's just digesting, but looks like it could possibly be trying to break down. And I think your NQ is going to be like practically flat here in the after hours, but really nice day to day overall on the NQ. During my scan, it was definitely harder for me to find setups, and nothing I'm super excited about. I will say biotech seemed to dominate the scans, and there were a few good looking biotech names, even though your XBI is pretty extended. And it still, for me, hasn't been super easy to gain traction on names. I would have like NBIS today, which I'll go over. I had that name earlier and it started to work really well. Maybe the setup on the daily wasn't the greatest, but it just still hasn't been easy to me personally to gain traction. Like I'll get one name, I'll try to go for another, and it just won't really work out. So still is a hard penny environment, but it was nice to see that positive reaction today, right? Like if I throw up the QQQ, you had a super nice gap up and a hold, pretty much closing at the highs, right? You get a positive 2-day reaction after that Iran news, that negative news where we resume fighting. But today you get a gap above the 10 and 20. Yesterday you had an undercut and rally and a nice close at highs, and then today, right, like I said, you get a gap and hold the 10-20 back above the 50. Huge positive for me for sure. You're seeing breadth improve, which was nice, and the QQQ getting back above the 10 and 20 day was super nice. Let's hold above it. I don't want to lose it tomorrow. That would be pretty ugly, but we got a nice day today. We'll see if this can hold. We'll see if names can set up tomorrow. Maybe like an inside day on the QQQ, and then maybe some inside days on some names. Continue to get tight, whatever. My trades today, which I'm going to go over here, and I have my little screenshots that I want to show. I trimmed a little over half of my SanDisk today. If I can pull up there we go. Right, I bought SanDisk on I think that was Monday or Tuesday, right? Wednesday, Thursday, and I trimmed pretty much that first hour of the day today, that nice push. And then when we got that super big push above the 10 and 20, I did take another trim. Little over half of my SanDisk now is gone, but trim into strength. This is a good example. I think this has been an awesome trade so far, one of my best trades of the year. So it was nice to trim that into strength. SpaceX, I did take this one right at the IPO, like a pullback to the IPO lows, right? You undercut it, you rally back through, and then you kind of pulled back to it intraday. So I bought the bounce right off that, and I was able to hold this one to the close with a 5% position. And then NBIS, I tried on a 620 setup, which I don't have my moving averages here. This is just from my broker. But I tried on a 620 setup and it nuked pretty hard into the close, so I had to cut it, but it is what it is. Going back to the charts here. Right, so that's going to be my trades today. Going to quickly go over the market here. I'm going to just be firing this super fast. DRAM, right, you're rejecting your 10 and 20 day. SanDisk, like I talked about, you had a big move above the 10, 20 day, and then overall I didn't end up holding it. But if you bought the reversal or the higher low setup, you got to be trimming into the strength. I took mine for a really nice, just over 60, I think over 65% winner this morning around lunchtime. So that was extremely nice. But MU, right, you're rejecting the 10, 20. WDC, you reject the 1020, and STX, same thing, right? Your SMH, I mean, same thing, right? SMH, you get a big gap up and you pretty much close the lows. Not my favorite action. Intel got absolutely no love today. Rejected a resistance gap, rejected the 50-day. If you got short this, maybe that was a good spot. We're getting a gap up in the after hours slightly in some names, but I mean, this to me was a pretty decent looking short spot from the gap up, right? You don't want to be chasing those gap ups. Nvidia was nice today and also on my ready list, or it was nice yesterday, and a nice inside day today, still above the 10 and 20. Looks pretty good. The mags has been pretty underrated, some of them at least, and I think the weekly chart on this Nvidia doesn't look too bad. Just want to see this name get back above the 50 for sure, but I like the inside day today, so I'm gonna definitely continue to go over that. AMD, this action's really sucked personally. Like, I just can't be trading this, but a name I'll just continue to watch for a washout to the 50 or the support gap, or an inside day tomorrow get tight. I do like the weekly chart. You do have an inside week. You're flipping green. Looks pretty good. Just want to continue, watch this one to continue to build out. The range is pretty choppy and loose right now, and just it's hard to read and really get positioned in it. Marvell, not my favorite action. You did hold the 50-day, had a nice day yesterday, and then you gapped up right into declining moving averages, and that closed pretty red. AMAT, another semiconductor related name, right? You gap up and just super gross action. Pang was another one, right? You don't want to be chasing stocks that are extended, of course, but you get a big gap up and you close pretty much at the lows. Not my favorite action there. WGMI did have a little bit of a bounce today, gapped up, tried to hold, but so much overhead supply on names of these. I talked about how I tried NBIS, and if I can pull up the 5-minute chart, I'll show the 620 setup right here. So right here as we got the 620 setup is where I started to get long. And then, like I said, you were making a little intraday base. I was kind of taking this as like an undercut and rally of the 50-day, right? You undercut it and you try to rally back through, but it didn't close there, so it closed below 50. Wasn't able to take it. Is what it is. But NBIS Cypher did get back above the 50 today, which was interesting. I don't mind the weekly chart. You do have an inside week, could be trying to build a higher low here. No setup for me right now on the daily, but one I'll continue to watch. I don't want to see it lose the 50. Maybe this is a short spot into your declining moving averages, but who knows? Hut, short spot into the 50-day. But out of all the names, like, these ones are definitely like the better looking names. Hut, not a bad weekly chart. I don't know. Just no setup for me in any way. Wolf was absolutely disgusting. Coming to the 50-day, that was a short spot. And had a nice rejection today on some volume. But the weekly chart, you had a big shakeout in the lows. So who knows what these names want to do, but they're so wide and loose right now. Just no setup for me. Just want to continue to keep an eye on them. Mags, super nice day, right at the 200. That was awesome. Meta had like a really whack gap down and then closed pretty strong. Absolutely no anything on this name for me. Absolute turd, but I will just continue to watch it. It was one of the bigger movers in your mags. But Apple, nice day today. New 52-week high, or almost a new 52-week high. Super strong. Definitely strongest out of the bunch. Tesla, you did have a big bounce today. You got 4 inside days. You look at a weekly chart, we get an inside week so far. I will watch the prior day high to see if this will get back above the 50, or like a tight inside day tomorrow, maybe on a washout 620 setup in the morning. I will maybe try this one, right? We'll have to see, but it's been super volatile and choppy, but I like the weekly chart. And the mags has been pretty nice, right? Nvidia, like I talked about, looks pretty good. So I'll continue to keep an eye on that. Bug was awesome again today, right? CrowdStrike was good. Nice move. Okta was good. Another nice move right at the prior high. And your FTNT, another continuation higher and new all-time highs. So new all-time closing high. This name looks so good, and just beautiful move from that high tech flag. QQQ, I talked about. SPY, same thing. You're just in big ranges, and SPY's trying to peek its head out of a nice little base, I guess you could call it. QQQ still inside this super big base, and this base looks pretty healthy to me. It looks really good. I didn't like the loss of the 50, but the shakeout and then the gap up today, this was a pretty nice expectation breaker for me, but I just don't see a whole lot of setups. So the weekly charts and some names look pretty good, right? The QQQ's weekly chart looks good. I would just maybe a few more days of tightness or something, and in some names, and maybe we could get some setups going into next week. IGV did have a nice rally after the gap down. Not seeing too much here, but your software names were pretty unreal. Like Band was an absolute monster today. FFIV was another software name that made a new all-time high, or a new 52-week high maybe. But either way, super nice break of the flag. Been talking about this one, so if some of you were able to get that, that's awesome. Frog, another name with just a nice continuation day higher. Snow, another one, super nice, but just don't really see setups on any of these names. Just going to continue to watch them. Electronic technology names were awesome today too. Your HPE made a big move. NTAP has been really nice. ANET is one I own. but you know, not viable up here, of course. I'm just sitting with this name. Hopefully you can build a flag route for a few days or something, but there's definitely more on that list. I want to keep this short. XBI, you did make a new high again today, but you're surfing the 5 day. It's still extended. It's over it's 7.5 ATRs, over 7. So definitely don't want to be buying XBI, but VKTX still looks awesome, right? You get a double inside day. It looks, you know, it looks like it's flagging out to me. BBIO was a huge moving stock today in the biotechs. I mean, not huge, but you had a big gap up. There's probably some news here. Don't really care too much about that. TGTX, another one, just continuing higher. So that was nice. ARCG, I debated putting this on here, but I mean, dude, the genomics have been so good. I own GH and it's been acting awesome. It had a nice day today. Started to come back towards the end of the day, but TXG was an absolute beast today, up, you know, 15%. Nice candle yesterday off the prior high, you know, when resistance becomes support, and then you get a super big move. Super nice to see. There's so much strength in something like this. Illumina, another one, just continuing higher in that space. And then Eli Lilly, I did throw this on here. Super nice setup. This is definitely on my list. I do own this, and maybe I can get some exposure in the LLYX tomorrow. Or an inside day tomorrow. Get super tight would be interesting, but this name's looking pretty good. It's building out in a pretty nice way, right? You had a breach and failure. You had a breach yesterday of the 200-day, and you failed today with a bearish engulfing. Super gross action on oil, like just absolutely disgusting. So maybe that's a good sign for the market, right? BTC. Right, you did have a nice rally back above the 10-20 day with an inside day, and it looks like we're pushing out above yesterday's highs right now, so it's pretty interesting. I just don't know what my vehicle would be to trade something like this. And Ethereum, kind of same thing. Not a bad looking chart, right? You didn't lose the 10-20. Looks like it could be trying to build some sort of stage 1 base or a 4B setup where you're in a downtrend. You kind of could have a nice rally back in the 200 like we had back in April. Although Ethereum did absolutely nothing then, but Bitcoin at least, you know, had a nice sideways, and then some sort of a little rally for a few weeks, and then finally found resistance and rolled back over. So I don't know. We'll see if this name can actually, or if this group can get back above the 200. I don't want to keep that too long. I'm already over. All right, going over my watch list here. AGL, super nice inside day. I don't know if I trade this name. It's 50 million a day in dollar volume, and if you look at like an intraday chart here, this thing trades absolutely no volume. And it's super choppy, so won't end up trading it. But out of all the setups, right, this is definitely one of the better ones. Nice base you're being built after the earnings gap up. Getting super tight. Maybe let the 50-day catch up a little bit more, but you know, nice inside day. Looks like it's ready to go to me. AMD, like I talked about, super choppy action, but it's been holding up super well, and still doesn't look too bad. Like I said, I like the weekly chart. Dell, kind of same thing, right? It's already past maybe a buy point, and it's pushing out, but the relative strength's been awesome. I think it's probably going to be going to $500 here. And the daily chart looks fine. No setup for me just yet, but I will continue to watch his name as it's been super strong. Amazon, I really like this day today. You get a bullish engulfing. An inside day tomorrow would be perfect. You get an inside week. This name is really looking awesome, and the mags has been awesome, and Amazon is definitely one of my favorites. So an inside day tomorrow would be beautiful. ARM, you had a nice bounce today, but you did reject the declining moving averages. So a lot of overhead supply in so many names. But you look at a weekly chart, super nice candle. You did have a nice, you know, undercut, and you rallied pretty much today, up 9%. So that, you know, it wasn't too bad. I will watch this name for an inside day tomorrow. You could watch it over the prior day high to get back above the 20-day, but just a few days of tightness now. You had a bounce, just get tight now for a few days. This is what I mean by like a 1 or 2 inside day would be super interesting on some name. DDOG, super awesome today. It's building a super nice little range here, a nice little flag right under those highs pretty much. And I don't know if you still pretty much got an inside week. I will continue to watch this. Looks awesome. It's in the software group. I talked about the software names and they look great. HIMS is in that health related group. Does have an inside day today. I don't know if I'd play this one, but it looks like it's trying to build a higher low. Just want to continue to keep an eye on it. Hood, nice weekly chart, right? You have an inside week so far, so that's nice. Continue building out here, but it would be great if you were able to get this one like right at the support cap. However you want to look at this, or at the 10-day, you know, maybe a nice spot for now. An inside day tomorrow I think would be pretty cool, but it looks like it's trying to build out a flag. IBRX, another biotech name on my list. You're kind of sitting right under a big base inside week, or looks like one. Yeah, maybe an inside week, very close. You're right under a pivot. Same thing that I talked about, where resistance, you know, becomes support now, and it looks like it. You bounce off of it on Tuesday, some sort of little update on Wednesday, and then a super tight inside day today on Friday. I will watch a push over the prior day high, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is another one where it's just pretty illiquid. on the intraday chart. We'll have to probably watch an hourly chart if I play something like this, but not a bad daily setup. I don't think it looks too bad. LOY, a name I own, like I talked about, super nice range being built. Continue to build this range out. Inside day tomorrow would be awesome, but I will be watching just to push above today's highs would be super interesting. And just overall out of this like $1,238 level, which is like your pivot where we came into rejected, you know, squatted for like 2 or 3 days here. Would like to see a push out. Looks like it could build a higher low here. Would like it to continue going sideways though, because the tighter, the better. But the 50-day, you know, maybe catching up a little bit more, but it's still not extended from it. Nvidia looks really good. I talked about the mags. I think the mags look awesome. And you get an inside day today, so I will watch a push above today's highs. The weekly chart looks really good. It's almost like a wedge pop on the weekly. So, or, you know, an moving average undercut and rally as well. But, you know, inside day today, push above today's highs. I'm super interested. Reddit. This name looks super awesome right off the 10-day. You get another one where it's like a bullish engulfing. The weekly chart looks fine. Don't see too much, right? Would just like this name to continue going sideways and just get super tight here above the 200-day. Like if the market somehow rolls over, we get an expectation breaker to the downside. Reddit is a name where I'm watching for continued base building, something like an ARM. You know, when it's a complete piece of, you know, it's a complete turd, it's disgusting, and then it finally has that super important day where you get above the 200 and then you build out and you go sideways and you have opportunities for a higher low, and then you get your breakout, and then it's in a big base and it breaks out of the right. Same thing that I'd be watching on a Reddit as far as just continue building out sideways. TNGX, another biotech name. You did get like almost an inside day, not quite, but a tight day nonetheless. The weekly chart looks fine. Inside week, it's been, you know, you get a big gap up and it's been building sideways. So nice base being built. Been building higher lows into it, almost like a mini VCP. So we'll continue to watch these biotech related names. You know, closing thoughts here, or actually, sorry, real quick, got some back burner steps. App, it's below the 200-day inside week. Not my favorite, but a nice pullback after this big move up. Maybe can get back above the 200. I'm not going to be trading this, but just going to keep an eye on it. Tesla, like I talked about, keep an eye on the prior day high. Inside day tomorrow will be interesting. BFLY, you had a nice bounce today off the 20-day. The inside or the weekly chart looks fine. It's trying to build a range. It's pretty wide and loose right now, but a few more days of tightness would be interesting. It's been pretty strong. Cypher, I talked about. NBIS, I talked about. GE, you pull into the 20-day. Inside day looks like it could be higher low setup. I won't be trading these, but I just want to keep an eye on how these setups work. SLS, another pharmaceutical healthcare related name. Does look like a high tight flag to me. Probably not something I'll be trading because it's over 5 ATRs from the 50-day, and you know, one pushed out and it's already extended. But maybe continue building sideways here would be interesting. This is probably another one where it's like the intraday chart is pretty illiquid. Who knows? But definitely looks like it can meet that criteria of a high tight flag. So that's gonna be my back burner setups, and yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it for me. It still hasn't been the easiest to gain traction on the long side. Seeing tons of names, like I said, with overhead supply, shorts even working from those overhead supply spots, whether it's resistance gaps, declining moving averages. So we'll see what can happen tomorrow, last day of the week. Next week, you got earnings kicking off. Trying to be extra patient for that, right? You could get some high volume closes, some big earnings gap ups, and then we'll see what can happen from there. So I want to get comfy sitting on my hands, not being obsessed with just clicking the button and trading a whole lot. Yeah, we just got to sit there, wait for those fat pitches. Be patient. There will be no video tomorrow. Obviously, tomorrow's Friday. Markets closed on the weekend. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I will see you Sunday night. Peace.